Hi.
Hi there, welcome back to English for Specific Purposes at the B2 Plus level. We are your hosts. I'm Mr. Daryl.
And I'm Miss Tatia. მოგესალმებით. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. მე თათია ვარ, ეს კი დერილია. დღევანდელი გაკვეთილის თემა კი კინოინდუსტრია. Mr. Daryl, we are going to talk about film industry today.
Yeah, I think it's quite a popular topic for many people. Who doesn't love watching films?
Yes. Okay, but I think that before we start the lesson, we need to look at our agenda. What's on our agenda today, Mr.
Well, we'll start with an introduction, a little discussion about the topic. We'll move from there to the vocabulary that we will need for the reading text that comes right after. After that, we'll have a look at the grammar section, as always, and finish up with a little summary and give you some homework as well.
Interesting. გაკვეთილს როგორც ყოველთვის მცირე შესწავლით დავიწყებთ, შემდეგ შევისწავლით ახალ სიტყვებს, ამას მოყვება ტექსტი და ტექსტზე დაფუძნებული სავარჯიშოები, შემდეგ განვიხილავთ გრამატიკას და შევაჯამებთ გაკვეთილს. საბოლოოდ დავასრულებთ საშინაო დავალებით. Let's get started, Mr. Daryl. As the topic of today's lesson is the film industry, I would like to ask you, do you like watching films generally?
I do. I love watching, war movies, gangster movies, westerns as well, westerns.
I also like watching movies very much. I mostly watch drama.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think that they are like thought-provoking movies. And I like when I have to think about the plot, about the characters, about what the film director wanted to say.
The motivations of characters and so on. Yeah, a very good point.
Okay, I think that we need to learn some words connected with film industry, and let's look at our set of vocabulary. The first word we have is script. Script is a noun, and in Georgian it means scenarii.
Well, script in English it means these are the words of a film or play or some other kind of broadcast. The words that are read on the broadcast.
So script, it's a noun, and in Georgian it means scenarii. And we have a very good example. He has written the script for a number of successful movies. What's the next word, Mr. Daryl?
Well, the next word is director. One of the most important parts of a movie making process, the director. In English, the definition is a person who's in charge of the film or play and tells the actors, what direction to take in their acting and their presentation of the movie. So,
director, it's a noun, and in Georgian it means režisori. And here we have a very good example. It was his boyhood dream to become a film director. So I think that there are two pronunciations of director and director. Okay, thank you. Let's move on, and the next word we have is cameraman. Cameraman is a noun, and in Georgian it means operatori.
Well, a cameraman is the person who operates the cameras. In fact, we have some in front of us right now. And a lot of the program rests on their shoulders.
Cameraman, it's a noun, and in Georgian it means operatori. And we have a good example here. The cameraman is filming a famous star.
Oh, that must be you.
Oh no, I don't think I'm not a famous star yet. Okay, let's move on. What is the next word?
The cast. The cast is a noun, and it refers to all of the people, the actors that are in a film or play or show.
So cast is a noun, and in Georgian it means dasi, cast. And we have a very good example here. After the final performance, the director threw a party for the cast.
There was, Friends is a pretty popular show, and they had a big cast situation recently.
Oh, really? That's great. Okay, and the next word we have is?
Screenwriter. Screenwriter, it's a noun, and this is the person who writes the story for the film.
Screenwriter, it's a noun, and in Georgian it means scenaristi, screenwriter. And here is an example. He's a talented screenwriter who has sold out to TV soap operas.
That means they're criticizing him for wasting his talent on just TV soap operas.
Yes, okay. And I think that we have finished the first set of vocabulary, and we need to move on to exercise. We will see the definitions, and we have to choose the right word for the definitions.
All right, sounds good. Why don't you go first?
Yes, of course, I'm ready.
I will read you this definition and you tell me what word it is. The actors in a film, play, or show.
Let me think. I think the right word here is cast.
Excellent.
So cast is the actors in a film, play, or show. Let's move on. I will read the definition for you and you will try to choose the right word. So someone who writes the story for a film.
It's in the title as well. Screenwriter, the screenwriter.
And you're right, Mr. Daryl. Screenwriter is someone who writes the story for a film. Okay, let's move on. And I think that I have to try now.
Yes, you do. The words of a film, play, broadcast, or speech.
Let me think. I think it must be the word script.
Well
and
done.
I'm right. So script is are the words of film, play, broadcast, or speech. Okay, let's move on. A person who is in charge of a film or play and tells the actors how to play their parts.
One of the more important parts of a filmmaking process, the director.
And you're right, Mr. Daryl. So the director is a person who is in charge of a film or play and tells the actors how to play their parts. And the last one, one definition and one word. So a person who operates a camera when films or television programs are being made is called a cameraman.
Okay, excellent.
And I think that we're finished with the first set of vocabulary. It's time for reading. We're going to read a very interesting text about film industry and about award ceremonies. But I think that before we read the text, we need to learn some words, Mr. Daryl. So what is the first word we have, Mr. Daryl?
Well, the first word is lachrymose. Lachrymose, difficult word to pronounce, but easy to say. Lachrymose. The definition of this word is something that has a kind of sad or maudlin or kind of not depressing, but kind of slow and sad.
Okay. Lachrymose is an adjective, and in Georgian it means tzremli tsause gulis amachuqebeli sevdiani. Lachrymose. And we have a very good example here. He's better known for his lachrymose ballads than hard rock numbers.
So quiet and kind of slow-moving ballads.
Yeah. And the next word we have is composure. Composure is a noun, and in Georgian it means sitzqnare simshwide. Composure.
Composure is when you have your emotions all in balance and you are in control of yourself. You're not going to lose control and get emotional.
Composure. It's a noun, and in Georgian it means sitzqnare simshwide. And a very good example here. I didn't want to lose my composure in front of her. So it means I didn't want to show my emotions.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And what is the next word, Mr. Daryl?
The limelight. Famous, popular term, the limelight. The limelight is the spotlight, basically. So if you're in the limelight, everyone's focus is on you, everyone's paying attention to you. So famous actors are often in the limelight.
Limelight, it's a noun, and in Georgian it's translated as საჯარო ყურადღების ცენტრში ყოფნა. Okay, and here we have an example. She's been in the limelight recently following the release of her controversial new film.
So everyone's talking about her.
Yes, she's in the center of attention, right? Okay, and let's move on.
Watery-eyed, watery-eyed. This is when, literally, when you're crying, in the process of crying, you're feeling sad, and we refer to it as watery-eyed.
Watery-eyed is an adjective, and in Georgian it means tvaltremliani, watery-eyed. And an example, the watery-eyed high school graduates hugged each other goodbye. Yeah, they are really watery-eyed when they finish school or graduate from the university.
Do you get watery-eyed when you watch sad movies?
Yes, always. I cannot help crying, and I usually watch films. I'm watery-eyed when I watch sad, sentimental movies. Okay, and the next word we have is seductive. Seductive is an adjective, and in Georgian it means matstunebeli. Seductive.
Seductive is when you've got the qualities to attract someone else's attention, and you do it very well, and you do it stylishly.
Okay, seductive. It's an adjective, and in Georgian it means matstunebeli. And an example to demonstrate how the word is used, she gave him a seductive look. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think that we have finished with the words, and it's time to read a very interesting text. But before we read a text, I would like to ask you, Mr. Day, I'm really interested to know, do you watch award ceremonies?
Oh, no. I don't like award ceremonies too much. They're too long, first of all, too long.
Really?
A lot of talking, no action, no.
So you don't watch it?
No.
Oh, by the way, I always look forward to watch Oscars.
Why? Why is that?
I'm really interested to see, first of all, to find out the winners, best actress or best film, because I usually watch films before the award ceremony, and I'm really interested to know if the film which I have chosen would just win any award. And then I'm of course interested in how the actresses look and the dresses they're wearing. So I think that the ceremony is really attractive for me.
They probably wear a lot of seductive dresses.
Yes, you're right. Now let's read the text. I think that our text today is about award ceremonies and how important they are, and if they are trendy, if it's trendy to watch these ceremonies, and just why people generally watch award ceremonies.
Okay, let's start with the text of today. We all have a little bit of Gwyneth Paltrow in us, says Jim White. Okay, when we buy a newspaper the morning after the Academy Awards ceremony, of course we want to know who won Best Film, Best Director, Best whatever. But more to the point, we want to know the really important details. Who cried, whose jokes fell flat, and who wore a dress that resembled a meringue that had been left abandoned for several days in the bottom. That's the stuff we love most about the ceremony. It has long been forgotten that it was the Best Actress statuette for Shakespeare in Love that Gwyneth Paltrow received in 1999. What is remembered, however, is her simpering acceptance speech, a performance so self-indulgently lachrymose that the phrase "to do a Gwyneth" has entered the language as a generic description for anyone who loses all sense of emotional proportion the moment they step up to accept an award.
Such an interesting thing. Have you ever heard about this phrase, to do a Gwyneth?
No, I haven't, but it kind of makes sense. I remember that award ceremony, and she was very emotional.
Really? Okay, let's move on. And these days we have plenty of opportunity to use the term. The television schedules are full of blubbering acceptance speeches, moms, dads, and the rest of the world being thanked in watery-eyed profusion. Comedians suddenly turned Gwyneth at the Comedy Awards. Cast members of EastEnders come over all tearful at the Soap Awards, and the emotional incontinence at the National TV Awards is such that the cleaning staff must have to employ heavy-duty pumping equipment to drain the stage afterwards.
It's an emotional moment, I guess, and a lot of people get teary-eyed.
Yes.
A friend of mine invited me along a couple of years back to the National Estate Agents Awards. Tears flowed as surveyors from Stockport and brokers from Basingstoke insisted that this was actually a team award to the unsung heroes in the office. Around the room, the losers in such categories as High Street Franchise Chain of the Year struggled to maintain composure as a name other than their own was pulled from an envelope. At one point, it was difficult to know who was crying more. The winner of the coveted Young Negotiator of the Year award, or one of the other nominees she had just beaten to the title.
So it was while witnessing this exchange that I realized why there has been such a rapid growth in ceremonies of mutual backslapping over the past few years. Some might suggest it reflects the truth that the recognition of our peers is the most seductive praise of all. But it is simpler than that. Award ceremonies provide a rare opportunity for us to step into the limelight and to kid ourselves we are stars. And these days we know precisely how to behave. As the estate agents up and down the country step forward and do a Gwyneth.
That was an entertaining
really
reading,
entertaining, and how emotional people are, and just why these award ceremonies are so important for some people.
Yeah.
And now we are going to read the statement, and choose the best option to make the statement true and relevant
to the
reading.
Okay.
Okay, let's start. I will try this tutorial. So according to Jim White, what we most enjoy about the Oscar ceremonies is the first, losers' reactions, second, superficial aspects, and funny jokes. Let me think. I think the right answer here is losers' reactions. And the statement would sound this way. According to Jim White, what we most enjoy about the Oscar ceremony is the loser's reaction.
Yes, you
now
are.
Next one for you.
Correct. He criticizes Gwyneth Paltrow's speech for being, now we have several choices, confusing, too long, or over-emotional. If I remember correctly, we focused on her emotional response, so I'm going to pick the last one. He criticizes Gwyneth Paltrow's speech for being over-emotional.
And you're right, Mr. Daryl. Let's move on. The next statement. He suggests that some participants at the Estate Agents Award ceremony, 1, disagreed with the choice of winners, 2nd, took things very seriously, and 3rd, were a violent nature. Let me think. I would choose here took things very seriously. As we remember, they cried and they were very emotional, and so the sentence would sound this way. He suggests that some participants at the Estate Agents Award ceremony took things very seriously. Let's move on.
Excellent. Here's the next one. The writer attributes the recent increase in award ceremonies to our desire to win prizes, be acknowledged by others, or 3rd, become the focus of attention.
Do you remember they talked about being just in the limelight and attracting attention and becoming the stars? So I think
that's a hint as to the answer, and the answer would be the writer attributes the recent increase in award ceremonies to our desire to become the focus of attention.
And you're right, Mr. Jared. And I think that we have finished with the reading part, and it's time for grammar. Let's look at this sentence. Award ceremonies used to be very popular in the past. According to this sentence, were the award ceremonies very popular in the past or not?
Yes, they were.
They were. And are they popular now?
No, they're not.
No, they're not. So what makes you think that they are not popular?
This phrase, used to.
Used to, you are right. And today we're going to talk about used to, when we use it, why we use it, and how we use it, right? Let's get started. We use used to plus the infinitive to talk about an action that happened regularly in the past but does not happen now. Used to is different to the past simple because it emphasizes that the action was repeated many times in the past. For example, I used to watch comedies, but now I prefer sci-fi. So it means that I regularly watched comedies in the past, but I don't do it now.
Oh, okay. Now, we can also use used to plus the infinitive for past situations. It emphasizes that the situations are no longer true. Here are 2 examples. There used to be lots of old forests here, but sadly they've all been cut down. And here's another example. I never used to get any exercise when I drove to work, so cycling's great for me now.
Okay, now let's concentrate on the form. So, positive sentences. How do we structure positive sentences? First, we need a subject plus used to plus infinitive. For example, I used to go to the cinema day after day. The negative form, subject plus didn't used to plus infinitive. We can also use never used to plus infinitive. More formal or written English, we can even say used not to plus infinitive. So here are the examples. I didn't used to go to the cinema, or I never used to go to the cinema, or I used not to watch sci-fi. But the last one is too formal and it's usually used in writing, right? Okay.
Let's have a look at the question and short answer form. You can structure it this way. Did plus subject plus used to plus infinitive. For example, did it used to take you a long time to get to work? Yes, it did. But you should take note with this. Used to is about the past, so there is no present or future form. For the present, we would say, I usually go to the cinema. And we wouldn't say, I used to go to the cinema. That would be wrong.
And one more thing I want you to pay attention to. Didn't used to and did you used to. In the negative, did not used to and the question, did you used to? Notice that there is no final D on use. This is correct English, although people sometimes put a D on the end, which is not right. So we have to say, did you used to go to the cinema very often? Or I didn't use to go to the cinema very often.
So with the question form and with the negative form.
Yes. And now it's time to practice and see how well we can use used to in the sentence. And for this, we will see the sentences and we have to put the given verb in the correct form. Okay, let's start.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, here's your sentence. She, and then be able to speak French, but she has forgotten it all.
So it means that she doesn't speak French anymore, but she was able to speak it in the past. So I would say the sentence this way. She used to be able to speak French, but she has forgotten it all.
It's almost like me.
So you know French?
I learned it for 9 years in school.
So you used to speak French a lot when you were at school?
Kind of.
Okay. So next one for you. Then we have go to the beach every summer. So it was in the past, a regular action in the past, in summer. But I think that this is not real anymore. So how would you say the sentence?
And plus it's a question form, right? So I would say this. Did we use to go to the beach every summer?
And you're right, Mr. Gerald. And the next one for me. I did not hate school. So I would say the sentence this way. I didn't used to hate school. Okay, it was normal for me to hate school in the past.
That's good. That's good to know. She, my next sentence is the following. She loved eating chocolate, but now she hates it. And if I have to put this into our used to form, I would say it the following way. If I were to put it into our used to form, I would put it in the following way. She used to love eating chocolate, but now she hates it.
Okay, you're right, Mr. Jerry. And I think that we have finished the exercise and it's time to wrap the lesson up. So what have we done today, Mr. Jerry?
As you remember, we looked at some vocabulary that was related to the reading text, which was about film award ceremonies. And then we closed off with the grammar section, which is also very useful, the used to format.
Yeah, and now it's time for homework, Mr. Gerald. Are we going to have anything for homework?
Yeah, something fun, something maybe many of you might enjoy, actually. Write a paragraph about your favorite film. So just discuss it, talk about the director, talk about the script, talk about everything you like about it. It's
very interesting. I think we might find someone who has the same favorite film or director
as yourself, and myself.
Yes, yes. And Mr. Jerry, where can the homework be uploaded?
Oh, it can be uploaded to the address you see on the screen. You can also find a sample answer that you can use to help you write your own answer.
Okay, very interesting. And I think that we have to say goodbye and wait for the next lesson. So, goodbye and stay with us. Keep on learning.
Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.